Well, hello there, listeners, and happy Friday. Time means nothing anymore. This is Annie Rose Malamet, and this is Girls, Guts, and Giallo. You may notice that there is not a new episode this week, and that is because I am moving to a slightly different schedule in my production time. So last week was the Femme for Femme birthday teaser special, and you can find that episode, of course, as always, on my Patreon, patreon.com/girlsgutsgiallo. And speaking of the Patreon, I am now doing a discussion/film screening live streaming series. You can sign up for that on 2 of my Patreon tiers. And now that my Patreon has become a larger source of income for me, I wanted to reacquaint my listeners with the different tiers that I offer on my Patreon. So at the $1 per month level, I call this the Killer Nun tier, since this is an austere amount to give. I thought that was very clever on my part. At this tier level, you get the pleasure of donating a tiny amount, every little bit counts, to the podcast every month. The next tier up is the $5 per month Succubus tier. With this, you get a monthly newsletter with the recommended companion readings to go along with the research I did for each podcast episode. The next tier up from that is the Cruel Mistress tier. That is $8 per month. And in this tier, you receive a shout out, a monthly newsletter, and access to a live stream that I host twice a month. I screen and discuss the history of rare films. These live streams are for educational purposes. It's kind of like the college film class that you always wanted to take if your teacher was some goth weirdo. So the live streams happen ideally 2 Fridays of the month. We're going to see how that goes. So far, I've had 2 of them. They've been really, really great, but one of them I did have to reschedule and it was not on a Friday. So we're going to see how that consistent schedule goes. You get access to my exclusive private channel, and you receive an email notification with a link to the stream a week in advance before I'm set to go live. The next tier up from that is the Woman on the Warpath tier, and that's the tier that I've had from the beginning. That's $10 a month. And with this tier, you get a bonus episode of the podcast every month and as well as the newsletter. I used to say with the bonus episode that it would always be on a new release. So the bonus episodes have taken a bit of a different direction. Like last month, I did the Femme for Femme Root episode, and this month I'm actually going to be doing a bonus episode about fatness and horror with Nay Beaver of Attack of the Queer Wolf. So definitely check that out. Join. Some really good content there. And then the last tier is the $15 a month tier. That is the Vampire Lover tier, and you get all of the above and below. Because I have so much going on with the Patreon now, and I want to dedicate more time to that while not detracting from the quality of the free episodes, I am going to be moving the podcast to a twice a month format. So it's still going to be coming out on Fridays. It's just going to come out every other Friday. So this week there's no new episode. Next week there will be a new episode. Week after that we'll have a break, and so on. So if you miss the weekly episodes and you just can't get enough of me, again, patreon.com/girlsgutsgiallo, and I'll see you there.